Are you laughing at the thought of a dog being hit by a car?
No.
Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, a show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate it and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch went 117 episodes with 5 seasons on ABC. Today we're talking about episode 1, which is called The Honeymoon, originally airing September 26th, 1969. So to get things started, I'm Jake Aggs. With me, as always, the boys, Joe, Berg, Nick, and Gordo. What's going on, guys?
Hey out.
Hey.
It's a normal male reaction, Dad.
I think I had something in mind that I didn't highlight.
Right after that, too, he's like, oh, your pants are on. I'm like, stop it. Stop everything. This episode is so weird and fucking horny.
I didn't think that was a particularly horny scene, but...
They're not technically related, you know.
So just to get started, this is the month of May. For the month of May, we wanted to do, instead of having Mother's Day or a Mother's Day episode like we've done in the past, do an entire Mother's Month. So because there's 5 Thursdays this particular May, we thought it would be a good opportunity to give each one of our mothers a pick. And so every show we're doing this month is something that one of our moms has picked out. And I thought that was going to be a really easy thing to do. Apparently, it wasn't easy at all. It was a fucking mess. So this is probably the one and only time.
We did come to find out that Joe's mom doesn't really seem to like Joe, I don't think. Yeah.
Will not answer a text. Will not answer a phone
She
call.
has fully ghosted him.
And then just like amongst the entirety of like all of us, like between having to explain to our moms what sitcoms are.
Well, the hardest part, and it's not even their fault, is we should have done this before we did over 200 of them, because it was just a list of
That wasn't
this? How
really
about
the
this?
problem I had, to be honest. But
Me either. Actually, I expected to have more of a problem. My mother picked this one, the Brady Bunch, and it was like the second thing she picked, or second or third. So I got lucky, but I expected it to be like, nope, we did it. Nope, we did it. Nope, we did it.
You know what's funny is like, so like, you know, I'll get into it when we get to my mom's pick and stuff, but you know, like my mom watches a good amount of television still. So like it's not like I just expected her to pick an older show, but she did. And as you guys will see, the entire month is all like kind of older shows, which kind of works out because I think we really haven't touched as much into that era as we should have. So kind of gives us an opportunity to do some of those shows. But yeah, I was like, well, what about this or that? And like, when I tell you, my mom just overthought it. Just like, well, hold on. I don't know if the first episode was good. It's like, it doesn't matter. Just tell me a show you like. That's all that matters.
Was your mom mad that we already did Bob Hart's Abishola? Because that's like the most your mom's show of all
She
time.
did. She front to back that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything she thought of was on the older side. Nick, any reason in particular your mom picked this one? Or is it just she was just trying to name a show?
Her first pick was I Love Lucy, and she is a sitcomer. Like it's always on in the kitchen. She's been really into My Wife and Kids, Home Improvement, Full House. It's been like on a rotation between the kitchen and the living room. So we were going through them, and I was telling her, I was like, try to think outside of like the more common ones, because we've done a lot of those. So if you can think of anything like that. She came up with the Brady Bunch, which in my head was a more common one.
It is a more common one, but we never did it.
Well, we never did it. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll run with it.
As common as it is, I don't think any of us ever would have chose it.
Yeah,
True.
it's just it's also sneaky old. Like
Yeah.
you don't think about it because we watched so much of it in syndication on Nick at Night and stuff like that in the 90s and stuff. But it was already 20 years old at that point, you know? So
I mean, this is 1969. We're talking about 60 years ago almost.
yeah, it doesn't look that old either.
You rarely feel its age when they're like, yeah, she's groovy, Dad. Yeah, real neato. I'm just like, it's
Neato.
funny, too.
Satirical?
Oh, but he's like, are you not hip with the modern generation? I went to Woodstock last week. You're like, I don't fucking think so, bud.
Well, I'll say this too, like the fact that like the copy that we watched off of, like right off the bat, it goes like in color. You go like, oh, that was something to brag about.
Also, this came out legit a month after the Manson murders, which is fucking wild to think about.
It's so different how your brain works.
Well, I always think, 1969, I always think of as like the end of the summer of love, right? Like you have like Woodstock and it's like hippies and peace and the Manson murders happen and it kind of changed everything, right? Like trajectory of like Hollywood and music and like the culture changed by that, right? Like
we hate hippies now.
yeah, the American dream of that was dead, right? It was like no more like peace and love, man. Like these fucking weirdos just killed a bunch of people. But this was like a month after.
Yeah, my first thought is this is 2 months after we landed on the moon for the first time.
Well, did we though?
Oh God.
You know, I gotta say, I don't want to get into all that, but I will say, as time's gone on, there's a couple things that make me question it.
Thank you, sir. It's not just me.
But
Couple of
how come we've never gone
flat
back?
earthers
That's
over
all I
here.
have to say.
yeah,
We
There's
have
no need. And we have.
We have not.
Yes, we have. We've sent like 12 people to the moon.
is the MTV flag still there?
I
Yes.
don't know.
Billy Idol was the last astronaut on the moon.
Right.
Between 1969 and 1972, we went to the moon 6 times.
6 times, Joe.
You're right. Stanley Kubrick did film us going to the moon 6 times in that time period.
Now explain to us flat Earth.
Yeah, Joe. The Earth flat too.
No, I do not believe the Earth is flat. But the moon is made out of cheese, and I can't wait to go there someday.
IMDb 6.8, Rotten Tomatoes 78%, no audience score. I thought 6.8 was a little low, to be honest
I
with
think
you.
that's a little low too, and I'd say there's
Yeah.
someone who doesn't like the Brady Bunch.
Is that the rating on the show or the episode?
I always do overall show ratings.
Okay.
Just real quick, if you want to watch the show, Paramount Plus currently has it, so it is available there on a streamer. And if you want to follow us, S1E1pod.com. That's where you can find all the links to all our social medias. If you want to buy a t-shirt, follow us on anything, just where to subscribe to us on all platforms. Go ahead and do that.
Our new Mike Brady as Charles Manson t-shirt that says September 1969 will be on
Nope.
the Public shortly.
Maybe.
To be fair, I would wear that.
So yeah, this is a 25-minute episode, so a little longer than what we're used to nowadays with the 22s.
A 25-minute episode with 7 minutes of content.
Yeah, there's not a lot that happens in this
Oh my
episode,
God,
so
yeah.
we'll get into it.
3 minutes of a dog running.
There's
Yeah.
That
so
scene
much
is so
tiger.
long.
I timed it. Did you time it, or were you guessing?
It was
3
I
minutes.
in my head. I thought it was close to 3 minutes.
I went back and looked at it. It was 3 minutes exactly, almost.
There should have been, instead of Ann B. Davis as Alice, there should have been Tiger's head coming up in the middle because he was in this episode almost more than any other character.
It's funny, if this was the Munsters, that would have been in fast motion.
Yes. To get right into it, it starts with the intro. Intro's iconic. If we're going to talk about it in a way that we don't know the show already, you know, there's just it starts with 2 boxes and
Bunch of
you-
awkward faces. It's so weird.
Well, you know, it's not very different than what we do. If you're looking
Yeah.
at like our
No,
Zoom
no, no.
calls
It
or
is
whatever.
different because it's like, okay, Gordo, look at the camera. Okay, be happy. We're talking about you. Okay, ha ha ha. Okay, now there's gonna be 3 people on your right side, top, middle, and bottom. Address the top first, then the middle. See, he's awkward. Look at him. Like it's just it's such an uncomfortable thing, and there's no way to not be awkward doing it. And it's 9 people doing it.
I think they did a good job with, like, I mean, for what that was. You know, it's one of those things too where obviously anyone listening to this knows the Brady Bunch intro. I would be very surprised.
I mean, it's so iconic. Yeah, you can't be mad at it because it's so iconic.
And it's one of those things that has been parodied a million times over. So like there's something about it though. It is part of, you know, American pop culture forever.
It is.
It you know, like I said, parodied
Yeah.
more times than you could count. So
You think this generation knows it?
Yes.
I don't think they do.
it's so tough. I mean, 'cause, like,
Maybe it's split 50-50.
No. We should because we grew up with the Brady Bunch movies in the 90s and it was all over syndication when we were kids.
Yeah, it got viewed more by us than it did in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, there were 3 Brady Bunch movies in the entirety of the 90s.
There's
that.
3?
That's crazy.
I
Yeah,
knew 2.
there's a third one that's like direct to video.
Oh, it makes
No, it
sense.
was a Fox. It was a Fox movie. Like
yeah,
Fox
but
TV.
even by the time those movies were out, I guess we were very familiar with the product. Like, we didn't get introduced to the Brady Bunch through the movies.
Well, think of it though. Syndicated TV show is usually 10 to 15 years before you were born, right? Like that's what's playing all the time. So Brady Bunch falls right in that, right? We were born in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
You know the song, here's the story of a lovely lady. Gordo definitely has some Weird Al version he wants to sing about farts. Go ahead.
No. So before here, I typed in to Chat GPT, can you please do an S1E1 parody to the song of the Brady Bunch?
Why do you think ChatGPT has
would you like to hear it? Would you like to hear it?
Go ahead,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Me.
Oh, you're going to sing it?
Yes. Here's a story of 5 wild podcasters who reviews a bunch of pilots every week. Joe was dreaming about ham slices, while Ferg said veggies, that's bleak. Then there's young Nick, who's always hungry, and Gordo yelling D's nuts on command. Jay forgot to use his incognito. Now his browser history's banned. Then one day, these 5 dudes got together and launched a show with jokes and sitcom fun.
Is this real?
Now they're canceling and green lighting, dropping lines and puns. That's the S1E1. Ba-da-da-da-da. The S1E1. Ba-da-da-da-da. That's the S1E1. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Is that real? Is that really what they came up with?
Yes.
Shit.
We have so many friends who are musicians. I feel like we can't do it, any of us who play music, because it's too close to the bone, but we need someone to make a version of that.
I don't understand. Gordo takes credit for things that ChatGPT wrote, and now I think he's giving ChatGPT credit for something he wrote. And I can't get my head around it.
Too. But no, he showed the OG Chat GPT screen. I think he's.
How does it
it's
know
true.
I don't like vegetables?
Because I told it you don't like vegetables.
Oh, so you okay?
Oh,
so
you fed into it. Okay, that's way less fun. I really like the idea that there is an all-seeing robot that will kill us someday that knows that Jay's chat is his incognito history is so bad.
No, Jay doesn't use incognito. That's the thing. I do not use it. It's
ChatGPT
you
has
guys-
seen your hard drive and it just knows
all
it's
of you
all
who
bad.
feel the need to use incognito mode are the ones who have something to hide.
No, I want to hide my browsing habits from all the ads. That's why I use DuckDuckGo, especially when shopping.
Sponsoring the S1E1 podcast. Duck, duck,
Quack,
go.
quack, quack.
So that was good. That was
good. Yes.
Gordo, that was good, although I'm a little saddened that you had to give it so much info.
Yeah, but that's less on him and more on ChatGPT not being.
Sure, yeah, I'm not saying that.
I'm glad it doesn't just know stuff about us.
I did it.
Well, actually, real time then. Can you try that without prompting so much? Can you say,
Yes,
would
I
you
did
write
that
one?
before, and it wasn't good. I can send it to you guys in
But
the
while
chat.
we're still on it, was this song done by anybody of note or anything? I didn't look into that actually.
Usually I rely on Joe for those types of things, so I did not look into this one.
That was the one thing I missed in my notes. I'm sorry. I had to do this one in fits and starts because of work, so this is not my best note taking.
God, you never take good notes anymore. What the hell? Only 2 pages?
This guy mails it in time and time again.
I am so fucking tired. How fucking dare you?
Anyways, to get into this actual show, from the intro, show starts. We see the father, Mike, and he's loading the trunk of his car and heading into the house, like an exterior shot. Now we cut to him walking into the kitchen, and we see his 3 boys, and they're sitting down and eating breakfast. Their maid, Alice, is there. She's the one who got everything ready. She's in the room with them. And Mike goes in, he goes, all right, now look, boys, let's all eat a good breakfast today. I know you're bound to be nervous, but we have plenty of nourishment and energy. And meanwhile, they're all eating. He's the one who's nervous, but he's projecting it on the boys.
It feels like an early wedding. This feels like a Roy wedding scenario.
A brunch wedding.
Yeah, it is a daytime wedding, early day.
I've been
wedding.
to a good friend of ours had a brunch wedding, and it was awesome. I wish more people would do it, honestly.
Was it over early, like parties
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
or did
It
it
was
go
like-
was it like a rager?
Yeah, no. I feel like I was home by 6. It was great.
That's fairly solid. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm guessing, we'll get into it as time goes on in the episode, but if I was to peg it, they probably had a 2:00 ceremony.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, they're in California. It could be, the summer. It could be that bright out at, 7 p.m. too. So.
Yeah, but they're just eating breakfast there, and they call Carol, and she says, my wedding's in an hour.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
definitely
true,
a
yeah.
They
morning
mentioned it's
thing.
very early.
Maybe she meant when she had to be there.
maybe that was more common back then.
Also, though, it's their second wedding each, and they all have a fuck ton of kids. So, like, they're probably a little bit like, this isn't, like, the wedding you have when you're 20.
The weirdest thing is that neither of them have wedding parties besides their kids.
They made their own wedding party.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, there's no, like, sisters or friends, like, helping her with her hair or, you know, helping him deal with some shit. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
We're getting very ahead right now, but you got to remember with both of them, this is not a first wedding for either. And typically,
true.
if you're on a second wedding or beyond, like usually the ceremonies are a little less intricate because you've kind of used that budget already in life.
Are both the former spouses dead?
It's not explained.
Only one you hear about.
We know for sure that that Mike's wife has passed, but we don't know like for sure that Carol's also a widower. We just know that he's no longer in the picture.
I know in a very Brady sequel, like he gets lost at sea, but I don't know how accurate that is to the actual series.
Yeah, I doubt it because that's such a satirical movie. But yeah, it's not mentioned, and it's never brought up later in the series either.
It's just because there was like a stigma to divorce back then.
Yeah.
They didn't want to talk about it. So she's divorced, but they didn't really mention it.
It was written as divorced, and the censors, ABC came back and were like, maybe we don't mention that she's divorced.
Did you see the other really weird thing that they won't allow in this show? And that was totally new to me. Did you guys read the trivia for this? They never showed a toilet in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because they weren't allowed to.
Oh, I did hear that in the past.
Fucking strangest like rule I have ever heard. What's wrong with a toilet?
That's one of the big jokes in All in the Family. You never see the bathroom, but Archie gets sick a bunch, or when people come home, it's like, is Archie home? You always hear the toilet flush. That was like their way around it, being like satirical of that rule.
So strange.
While Mike's talking, Alice is like, hey, listen, I understand, like, you're nervous. It's a big day. He's like, why do you think I'm nervous? And the whole time he's talking to him, he's just like shoveling sugar into his coffee, like over and over.
I felt so bad for Ferg with this scene up. I was like, oh, this is going to turn to like a 10-minute conversation of how we all take our coffee again.
I think we've had the talk, but just to be clear, I take 0 sugars in my coffee. I do
Zero
not
sugar
sweeten.
as well.
I've been messing with my coffee recently because
For the love of God! Even when you talk about it, you still do it.
I'm trying to get rid of the sugars in my coffee.
I do like 2 in milk.
Ferg?
0 for me.
How do you wake up in the morning?
I just have this energy all day long.
Ferg doesn't have the same energy as he's gotten older. If you remember when we were younger and used to vacation, Ferg would be like, everybody up. And like now he's the one you have to wake up. He's not.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
same
there's
guy.
podcasts where he had just woken up from a nap and he's like, let's go.
Which, oh man, not to go back, which episode did he legit completely miss and then popped in like at the very end?
I forget
Because
what
he
it
slept
was.
through it.
Yeah. He like, as we were like, bye guys, like Ferg appeared.
The kids is telling him like, you know, it's normal to be nervous, Dad. Like Peter says, like, I once saw a movie where a man was getting married. He was so nervous he forgot to put his pants on. And then like Bobby like looks under the table to make sure his dad has his pants on. Like, you're okay, Dad.
Could have been Alice who checked. She's always horny.
Alice comes out from under the table. Nope, pants are on now. Didn't want you going to the wedding with a loaded gun there, Mr. Brady.
And then I don't know if you guys caught this. So here, Alice is like, I'm sure you're going to be very happy. Mrs. Martin is a lovely woman. Martin must be her old married name because her parents have the name Tyler.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think at that time, like if you're divorced even, you still just go with that name until you get married again. Like you don't
Sometime,
revert back
yeah.
to your maiden name.
I was going to say maybe she kept the name because of the children.
Most likely.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense. Yeah.
all these kids, you do, I mean, obviously with the, not to get ahead, but we do know that all these kids end up taking on the name Brady.
Which means that their dad must be a huge piece of shit for the 60s to be like, we're taking this other guy's fucking name.
Peace out, boys.
Our last name used to be Knievel. We're like, yeah, that guy sucks. We're not doing this.
What you got against Evil
What's wrong with
Knievel?
Evil Knievel?
I love Evil Knievel, but he famously like beat his kids. He wasn't a good dad.
I wouldn't say famously. He famously like jumped cars on a motorcycle. He,
Buses.
if you read up on him, probably did, because honestly, I didn't know that.
Me neither. You can't say famously. That's common knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like for other people to chime in if they famously knew that he was not a good person,
Stop
especially to his
using
children.
famously like that. It's not.
Other people may know it. That doesn't mean it's a famous thing.
I'm not saying it's not true. It's just not what he's known for.
Okay, I mean, let's be honest here, though. Everybody in the 60s beat their kids.
I mean,
that was not
true.
an anomaly back then.
Tell you, kids were well behaved back then.
That's why all of our parents are so fucked up.
Generational trauma is very interesting to watch go through the years.
Anyways, before this takes a really weird turn, Mike gets up. As he gets up, he like kind of fumbles his coffee a little bit. And it's like, let's hope Carol's not as nervous as you are. It's like, oh no, like I'm sure she's perfectly fine. And she's cool and collected. Cut to her. She's got curlers in her hair and she's helping her oldest daughter, Marcia, getting ready. And she's like, I'm shaking like a leaf. And then, as you said earlier, like the wedding's only an hour away and I can't even brush your hair.
I thought it was strange she has curlers in her hair, and then you see her at the wedding and she's got no curls.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Didn't even think about that, honestly.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
I didn't either. Fuck this show. Cancel.
Maybe it was to uncurl him, like she did it in the opposite way.
I mean, honestly, if we're getting, it's like it's such a solid point, Ferg. But like when we dislike a show from the jump, the amount of slack we'll give a show for doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
The fuck, the curlers are in her hair. Where were the curls? And then here you're like, ha ha ha, oh, misstep.
Also 60s, you're just a little bit like, I don't know if they thought anybody'd ever fucking see this again, let alone 60 years ago be like, I'm watching this with a fine-tooth comb.
Like, nobody's picking this up. The mother's divorced.
Evel Knievel's wife isn't gonna star in a show.
Maybe her curlers just don't work very well because she's the next thing she's doing is telling Cindy like, hey, what happened to your curls? Like, she did them a half hour ago and they're already gone. So
Yeah, I think
maybe
she just bought shitty curlers.
maybe it's just shitty curlers. Yeah. Obviously too, Cindy's definitely made to be like the comic relief, right? Like she's being the cute girl with like the heavy lisp, but like every time she talks, gets like a big crowd reaction.
She's the original archetype for that. Like, that later became Michelle Tanner. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It pans out at one point. We find out all three of the daughters are in the room. Because at first she was with Marcia, and then, we see Cindy there and Jan, also the middle one. And she's asking, like, you guys all like Mike, don't you? It's like, yeah, we like him a lot. And then Cindy does you know how much we like him? This much. And like opens her arms up for a hug.
I don't know, it's very sweet.
It is.
We like him a lot, even though he built this really stupid-looking fucking house that we have to now go move into.
In fairness, not that house yet.
I was going to say, you don't see the iconic Brady
I was
house at all
surprised
in the
by that.
episode.
That's another, going in fresh. Again, we don't have, taking out anything we know. But yeah, the iconic, Brady house is not something that we're seeing in this episode.
I would have bet money that's how the episode ended, was them going to the house. Something.
It was a good solid year from when this was filmed to when it was aired too. So it might have taken a minute to get picked up. So to get into it, I guess, now, even though we're already kind of into the episode, this was a show that was originally pitched, the idea of this kind of found love and remarriage. And it was pitched, the pilot was sold, the network wanted to turn it into a 90-minute mini movie. But I think Sharon Schwartz, who created the show, who had the intentions of having this turning into a series, thought that if they did a 90-minute version of this, it would kill any chance of getting a pilot over, getting over as a pilot, because it'd be too boring.
I think he was right here too. I feel like the only way this works as a movie, and this now saying that makes me think of the wedding scene with the dog and everything. If you had Don Knotts as Mr. Brady, and it was like, oh god, the dog, you don't look at cake. That could be a 90-minute movie that you could sell. It could be on after The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. But it would never become a sitcom. Yeah, right? Yeah, I'd watch the fuck out of that.
If this was the end of a series, right? If this was all culminating in a wedding, then you could maybe extend it out and do other stuff. But yeah, if you're not invested in the characters yet to hey, here you go, and create a whole movie basically, and then from there try to start a series, it probably would have been a bit much. Phone rings. It's Mike. And the two of them are talking, both kind of admitting that they're a little nervous. She's admitting to having some butterflies in her stomach. And you get were you sleeping with your mouth open, mommy? How do the butterflies get in your stomach?
Stupid kid.
Just a Buffalo Bill. It's put the butterfly in her stomach.
Cindy's played by Buffalo Bill.
Would you marry me? I'd marry me.
At this point, Carol asked the girls, like, hey, would you guys mind stepping out for a minute so I could talk to Mike in private a little bit?
I thought this was going to get racy when she said that, but it doesn't.
It does get racy. She's like, did you take a tranquilizer? Like, do you want another one? Like, okay, Shawn Michaels, calm down. How many fucking sodas do you need?
She offers him a tranquilizer because of, how nervous he says he is right now going into it. I thought this is interesting. Second episode in a row where tranquilizers come up.
And he already says he's taken one. He doesn't want to take a second one because he wants to be able to still have sex later that day, which is just not what I expected in this episode.
Hey, I mean, the man wants to lay pipe. Can't be taking Quaaludes.
Hold on. He only said there's a honeymoon to consider. Maybe he meant dinner.
So many activities.
They could be going to Kiss Mini Golf.
Although, I mean, as we are to find out, I think their honeymoon is literally just checking into a hotel for a night and then going back home. So,
and eating dinner in the hotel room?
yeah.
Why not? You could get that, like, jacuzzi, weird jacuzzi.
Are tranquilizers as popular these days? I feel like they don't come up. Is it just because there's so many other drugs now?
Maybe in big game hunting.
I mean, the classic tranquilizer of that period would have been Quaaludes, which they don't make anymore.
Yeah.
But Somas, they made, I mean, that was like the big wrestler drug, right? So, like,
That was like the early 90s. That's like what, like last week we did Charlie Hoover. Maybe he was talking Somas.
yeah. I don't know what it is now. I mean, there must have been something. I mean, doctors were like overprescribing so much in the late 90s or 2000s. I'm sure some of that shit was muscle relaxers and tranquilizers, but luckily none of us ever got hooked on those or needed those. So, like, we can't say what the modern equivalent is.
Would you say oxys?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know
That's
if
like,
they're-
that's like into the narcotics like category
Okay,
at that point.
I don't know. They knock you
That's
out.
opiates.
Like a Valium?
Yeah, okay.
Valium, I
Maybe a
think, is probably
Valium.
more, yeah, it's probably the most modern one.
Klonopin.
I feel like Klonopin kind of skirts the line between.
Diazepam, Librium, and Xanax. So Valium, Librium, and Xanax.
Oh, Xanax is the one. Oh, Zanny the Nanny?
For the record, I said that and y'all ignored me.
You said Xanax?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. But yeah, that's definitely the one, right? Like, that's the biggest one.
Check the recording.
I said Xanax.
That's the one when I was like, I need medicine. I'm freaking the fuck out. The doctor was like, we're not giving you anything like Xanax. I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry that I look like I want drugs, but I'm dying here.
Fuck you, Howard.
I'm dying.
I wonder how many times that's been said on the podcast.
Probably a bunch.
I have the Dr. Teeth and Electric
Yep.
Mayhem shirt on.
Next scene, we're back at Mike's and Peter, the youngest, is getting ready. And Mike walks in. I was actually kind of surprised in general that they're trusting like the youngest one to just get ready on his own.
Yeah, again, probably something more with the times.
As we're all inching towards 40, I'm still like, I still usually ask for a hand at the end when I'm putting like a suit on or something like, hey, how do I look? Can you like fix my tie or whatever? And you got this like little like 7-year-old boy and you're like, here, go ahead, get dressed.
You would think Alice would be helping get him get ready.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure, his brothers help too.
Different times, too. More suits.
That's true. They definitely wear that stuff more often.
They probably all go to church every Sunday and dress
Yeah.
like that.
That is true. Like the Sunday's best.
I didn't learn to tie a tie until we were in like high school.
I still don't know how to tie a tie. I follow a YouTube video every time.
Yep, I tie my tie once and I leave it.
That's what I do.
I can do it every time, but I
There's
only know
one
one
tie.
knot.
I have like
I can
multiple
tie my
ties.
tie one way. And,
Yeah, that's the only way I
it.
know is one.
A lot of times I'll just show up holding the tie and be like, hey, you know how to tie this?
Somebody help me.
Find another man.
I can tie my tie. I can't tie someone's on them. Like, I'd have to put it on myself.
Yeah. When I was a kid, like my mom knew how to tie a tie. So like that's how like my mom would tie it for me. But like she had to like do it on herself, which is funny because like why would she know how to tie a tie?
'Cause she probably had to do it for your dad.
Probably because he's a big dummy. So,
It's going to be the one episode he listens to.
Joe, the fuck?
what the fuck? So have you guys seen the video of someone like ties a tie around their arm and like pulls it? Like there's a way to tie a tie just using your arm.
No.
It's insane
No.
and it works. I tried it like after I watched the video and it works.
Whoa!
But I'd have to do it like I don't remember how to do it, so I'd have to like watch the video again. But it was crazy. It blew my mind. Mike and Bobby are about to walk out. It's time to go. And as they're walking out, Mike notices that the picture of his ex-wife, Bobby's mother, isn't like on the, on the bureau or whatever where it used to be. And as Bobby put it, and he's like, I put it away. He's like, because of Carol? It's like, oh, I thought maybe she wouldn't, like to see it when she moves in. And like, he gives him the speech like, Bobby, like, I don't want you to ever forget your mother. You could leave that up. And, Carol would never mind, things of that nature, having that like talk, Funny thing is, after this episode, never again is their mother mentioned.
Yeah.
So as he's saying, I never want you to forget about your mother, this is the last you ever even hear of her. This is actually, in the history of the show, the only time you see even an image of one of their ex-spouses. So that's it.
I can't remember either because it's been a while, but did the kids ever call her Carol? I think they just call her Mom.
So this episode...
After this episode.
This episode is the only episode where they refer to their step-parents by their actual names.
Okay.
So from the very next episode on, again, not to get ahead, but just for the sake of, conversing here, yeah, they're mom and dad forever.
I mean, that's weird, right? I can understand it for the two younger kids.
Well, even the oldest kids aren't that young, aren't that old. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's funny because, yeah, the oldest are pretty young, but like if you thought back on this show, you remember them probably in high school more than this age. Anytime you think back.
I would also say, too, that it's a different time.
Hmm.
So I'll give that the leeway that it deserves with the time.
Funny, there's no, like, the kids ever getting, like, disciplined. And there's never, you're not even my real dad, Mike.
You know what's funny? It's thinking about it now, too, like, and I don't know, but just kind of spitballing. We talked earlier about, like, kind of things the network are okay with and not okay with. And it's funny because, but at this time, just the thought of like an unconventional, like, found family situation is still a little, like, gray area for, like, common, like, television and stuff, So, like, maybe they kind of want it that way. Like, all right, this can be like a step situation and they're both remarried, but we want them always being referred to as mom and dad and things like, like that could have been like a production note.
Like, we mentioned it in the theme song only, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mr. Pringle is pretty judgmental about their situation.
Yes, he is.
It's so funny looking up like Mr. Pringle and like Carol's parents too. It's these actors who, like, they all got their start in radio. Like, it's so long ago. Their careers started on like 30s radio, and then they all lived to like 1990 or something. Just like these crazy long lives.
It's just such a dated show. It's like the kids were born in the 50s, right? Like, that's just wild. It doesn't seem that old.
Are all the kids still alive?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, just curious.
Well, no one was yelling at you. You like,
Fine.
He's so used to being yelled at when he asks a question.
Legitimately.
I think it's time for a new season of My Fair Brady.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
The Christopher Knight show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dated that supermodel. They met on The Surreal Life.
The Surreal Life.
Surreal Life, right? Yeah.
With Maven.
Yeah, that famous wrestler, Maven. I mean, I'm sure his podcast gets way more listens than ours does. So good for you, Maven.
Oh, yeah.
That's because he was in the WWE. None of you are in the WWE.
Yet?
Three of us are in the WWE.
Gordo's tryouts are next week.
Gordo's going to be ID champion next week, and we're going to get a huge bump.
Fuck you, Undertaker!
The other boys meet up with their dad and Peter, and it's time to go. It's like, all right, come on, boys, it's time to go. It's like, all right, we're all dressed up. So is Tiger. And that's when, we see the dog ready to go with them. It's like, sorry, guys, Tiger stays home.
No.
This boiled my blood. It's like, you don't need to take the fucking dog to the wedding.
The dog can stay home. Also, why does he get shotgun in the car?
Because he's the dog. Your dog doesn't get shotgun?
That's what he gets, so he can deal better with getting locked in it later.
One thing that actually really bothered me is, like, Mike kind of is made to look like a pushover at this part. Like, the kids get their way. They do bring the dog. He's not portrayed like that at any other point of the episode.
No, he's like
kind
a
of a
dick
hard
to
ass.
them. Yeah.
Like, why would he agree at this part?
Maybe there's a different Mike when Carol's around. Maybe he feels like he has to be more assertive. But yeah, at this point, at first he says no, and then it doesn't take a lot of pushing. Like, come on, he's our brother. It's like, because he's saying like this is family only, and the kid's like, well, Alice is coming. It's like Alice's family. This conversation obviously turns into the dog's coming. As you mentioned, we get the cut. Now we see them all driving. Tiger is sitting shotgun. The three boys are all in the back.
I love it.
I think it's more for the funny optic because obviously like putting the dog in the middle of the back makes the most sense. But
And he's a big furry dog.
It's crazy because those lint rollers that we all have now don't exist back then. So they're all just going to be covered in dog hair.
yeah, for
What
the
if
whole
he's
wedding,
a
yeah.
doodle?
What?
What if
What
he's
if?
a doodle and he doesn't shed?
That dog looks like he sheds. He's a very long-haired dog.
That dog's a
He
shit.
doesn't look hypoallergenic.
Well, like Malteses are a dog
I think
that
he's
is
like a
hypo-
sheepdog, right? That's what those
The
are
dog
called.
looks like he's made out of a mop. There's no way that hair is not shedding.
Also, did anybody read the trivia about the dog?
I'm assuming that he died in 1971.
There's some unfortunate news when it comes to Tiger.
Wait, is there sad news for Tiger?
Yeah, he got hit by a car like in the filming of the 5th episode or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like- and then
By a
The
drunken
funny thing-
evil Knievel driving too fast on his
That
motorcycle.
No,
piece of shit, Evil Knievel.
Stop giving Evil Knievel shrapnel.
the strange thing is they never replaced the dog, but they kept his doghouse in the backyard only because one of the studio lights had fallen and melted a giant hole in like the turf of the backyard set. So they just moved the doghouse over it, and that's why the doghouse stays, but they have no dog after the 4th episode.
Aw.
Or like Tiger, am I right?
Are you laughing at the thought of a dog being hit by a car?
No.
Then what's funny?
I'm just laughing at the fact that I never realized that they have a dog at the beginning and then they just never have a dog again and it's never addressed.
Well, they never have a cat again either, though.
Cat is also only in this episode. Yeah.
Also, an outdoor cat house?
That
what
was
the
the
fuck
weirdest
are we doing?
thing.
That's strange.
Fluffy's
Yes.
cat house.
Yeah, I saw that and was like, okay, no, some things cannot stand.
Before we move forward, I want to go back for a second. Gordon, you said that you let your dog sit shotgun,
Yeah.
and that's because you like to have the whole back seat to yourself.
My wife doesn't drive. That's my Chewbacca. That's Chewbacca mode. My wife's not there. She jumps in the front. That's Chewbacca mode. Because my dog, when she gets, rough and tumble, she looks like Chewbacca.
Doodle, is that a man smoking a cigarette near our car?
He never did it again.
Have you ever in the car said "punch it, doodle"?
Have I ever what?
Have you ever said "punch it, doodle" in the car?
No.
You admonished Doodle for putting the wrong song on the radio.
He just referred to his dog as his Chewbacca, but clearly has never seen Star Wars.
I have seen Star Wars. I have.
Green punch buggy, daddy. Dog punches.
Oh, his dog Yoda?
That was me trying to do the dog voice, but say green punch buggy. I came out as
Driving
Yoda.
too.
Life is torture, mine is.
I'm just like envisioning like Gordo getting into like a road rage fight, but with his dog next to him.
It's the scene from Anchorman and somebody kicks it off a bridge.
They punted Doodle.
Yeah, the bad man from the motorcycle, the ghost of Evil Knievel, came and punted Doodle
Bad man punted Doodle.
off of the Tobin Bridge.
I've never heard you mention Evil Knievel in the past in our entire friendship, and now you've insulted him 3 times in this episode.
He's insulted.
I legitimately love Evil Knievel. I was just rereading his book recently. It's probably why he's on my brain.
Well, technically, Joe, evil is in his name.
Hold on.
He wasn't good Knievel.
That's true.
This is a weird episode. We're not getting a lot of wholesome. Oh, I love the Brady Bunch people. We're not getting any of them. Just to think of like, Joe, we've been friends for so long and how different we are. And just like the statement, I was rereading my Evil Knievel book. Like, you're like, this one needs another gander. Like, I gotta see if
It's a really
there's
good
any
book.
Evil Knievel facts I missed the first go around. I need to check this one out.
I don't
again.
think I've ever reread a book in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
I never really do either. It also takes a lot for me to read a book.
Joe, why would you ride the book knowing he famously beat his kids all the time?
I just skipped those chapters the second time.
Famed child beater, evil kid.
He's rolling around in his rocket car grave right
For the
now.
record, hitting kids is nothing to laugh about. It's just the thought of assuming that this is the first thing that comes to mind when you say Evil Knievel's name.
It's not the first thing I think of is that he had a cane that was filled with whiskey. That is the first thing I think of because that is a great move. The second thing I think of is like, I wish he was nicer to his family.
Listen, Robbie Knievel turned out just fine, all right?
He's dead and he did not turn out fine. He had a terrible life. And at the end, he had no money and lived in a motorhome. He had not turned out
I was
fine.
going to say, I don't think you know a lot about Robbie Knievel.
I don't. I'm lucky I got his name right.
Oh, man. So,
This episode is off the rails and I'm so happy about it.
cutting to where the ceremony is, 'cause the boys drive up to the venue. That's when we see Carol's parents at first. So it looks like they're helping set up. So it's a big wedding for a second wedding, I guess, to say that, right? If you're keeping that in mind, if like Carol's parents are flipping the bill on this one again.
Yeah, this is like I feel like I could afford this wedding.
But again, I do think it's also like still to this day, right? Like your first wedding versus a subsequent wedding is usually the second or third wedding or fourth, whatever, is very much scaled down.
Sure. And it looks like it's a very nice looking wedding, but it looks like that's what we're getting here. It's definitely scaled down.
But it's also like the most sitcom wedding ever because every sitcom wedding takes place in a backyard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're getting everything ready. Carol and Cindy walk up, and Cindy's saying how beautiful everything looks. There's a joke like, we'll wait till you and Mike get the bill, insinuating, hey, we're not paying for this one too. But
Did anybody else think that her father was Fred Mertz at first?
No.
no.
Yeah, no.
I thought he was Fred Mertz.
No, but I did think that he was maybe a cousin to Alfred Hitchcock.
I
Yeah,
can see
I
that.
can see that. Alfred Hitchblock.
I mean, their names didn't have to change if they were cousins. They could still have the same last name.
Fine, Morty Hitchcock.
Yeah, see, Morty Hitchcock, I would have been like, yeah, perfect. Greg Hitchcock, even more.
We already have a Greg on the show, though, so we got.
You're Morty now, Greg. Okay, Grandpa.
So while they're talking to the grandparents too, Carol's thanking her parents for everything they've done the last few years. So we're assuming whatever happened to her ex, it happened 3 years ago or so.
No love for Mike's parents, huh? You don't even meet them.
They're not even at the wedding, yeah. I don't think any of his family's there.
Well, what's funny is, it's like, oh, thanks, we couldn't have done it without you. It's like, oh, and Cindy's asking, like, you're still going to visit us, right, Grandpa? It's like, oh, don't worry, they only live 20 minutes away. So I'm assuming that they've been living with the grandparents up until now, and now they're going to move into Mike's house. 20 minutes away, you never see the grandparents again either. Like, everything vanishes.
I'd like to think that, like, he's like, I gotta get out of this house. When Dad came home one day with a cat house for outside, like, Dad's gone senile. We could have
The cat lives outside now. Like, okay, Dad, sure. I'm going to marry the first architect I see.
You could build that cat a house.
Yes.
Imagine no, that's how you know Mike doesn't care about his, like, he's one of those people who, like, he leaves work at the door because, like, the doghouse is just a colonial home. He doesn't have, like, a crazy shaped 2-floor doghouse. Like, you think he would have architected a good doghouse.
Well, I mean, Joe, honestly, we've brought this up before, but like, your dad used to have a business doing garage doors.
Oh, yeah, we had the worst garage doors, yeah.
Yeah, like, you guys just have like a tarp over your garage door area for like the longest time, so.
Don't want to bring your work home with you.
Yeah.
Gonna say, strippers don't come home and strip. That's the old saying, right?
You just called Joe's dad a stripper.
I mean, he could. It's a saying.
Only when the garage door business was getting lean.
It was even wilder when something would catch fire at Joe's house and his dad was like, nope, off the clock.
Hold on. In fairness, true or false, Joe, your dad used to slide down a pole at work.
That is fair.
But
Professional pole dancer.
That one was for Evil Knievel, you son of a bitch.
My dad is currently texting me right now. I'm like, oh, God.
My ears are burning.
He's texting me while Mom is just staring at messages from her phone 6 months ago, being like, nope.
just how do I block someone?
like, it's not his birthday. He gets no text. On to the next thing. But very punctual, will call me literally at the moment, like the time of my birth on my birthday every day. And be like, every year rather, be like, it's, 8/17, happy birthday. And like, June 5th, Mom, I have a question for you. Nothing. It's so funny.
This is just the penance for making her life miserable as a teen.
Yeah, well,
Joe was
fair.
always stealing my jeans. I fucking hate him.
So, doorbell rings and they're like, oh, it must be another telegram. So Cindy gets excited. She's like, oh, let me get it. So she runs and grabs the door. And when she opens it, it's Mike and the three boys. And she looks really upset. Like, oh, you look pretty. It's like, hi. It's like, oh, why do you sound so disappointed? I thought you were going to be a telegram.
I thought real daddy came home.
Oh, can we just point out the absurdities that she thought it was a telegram?
Well, it wasn't absurd in 1969.
Yeah. Telegram, ma'am. Charles Manson just killed a bunch of people, including a famous gal. See you later. Like, why would he deliver that to a little girl?
Mongo likes candy.
Candygram for Mongo. Mongo just pawn in Game of Life.
Carol walks up, says hi to all the boys, notices Tiger. And she's like, Tiger? He'll scare Fluffy to death. And then Mike's like, oh, I forgot about Fluffy. And then tells Greg, like, put Tiger in the car. It's like, I know, like, he does say, hey, leave the window open, but, like, come on.
No water and don't crack the window open. It gets nice and hot in California. He'll do just fine.
And the thing was, Carol goes, oh, we'll just put Fluffy in the girls' room. It's like, oh, no, honey, we don't want you to lock up Fluffy. So instead of Fluffy being in the house, just in a big room where, like, it's a cat and will be more than fine, the dog has to stay in a car. Like, that's so much worse.
Nah, man, Fluffy's an outdoor cat. She needs to be free. She can't be locked in a little room.
Also, I just thought of this. It's kind of weird. So we call the cat Fluffy because she's fluffy. Makes sense. We call the dog Tiger because he's part of the cat family. Wait, what? You don't name a dog Tiger? That makes no fucking sense.
You let the kids name the pet. So, what, whatever they pick.
No, stupid. The dog is not a cat.
Listen, we've all named our dogs really stupid things as children.
Or
Yeah, but they use
39-year-old adults.
Gordo, oh man. John, I'm gonna rock your world. There's a human being named Tiger.
He crashed his car almost as many times as Evel Knievel.
Oh, everyone's taking shrapnel today.
Isn't Tiger Woods' kid now, too, like an insanely amazing golfer? Didn't, like, those genetics actually transfer perfectly down?
He's young, too, and he's crazy good. Yeah. So after Mike and the boys mistreated Tiger and locked it in a car for the remainder of the day, they head into the back area and they see Carol and her parents and everything like that. So they're all talking and, just kind of having their pleasantries. There's that joke like, oh, Mike, from Carol's dad, like, so you decided to show up after all, ha ha ha. And he's like, that's all right. And his wife's like, Henry. Mike goes, that's all right. I don't get upset very easily. One of the kid, Bobby's like, oh yeah, this morning he put 21 spoons of sugar in his coffee.
Shut up, Bobby! And he slaps him.
Shut up, you fucking narc.
So then it's Cindy, why don't you take Bobby upstairs and tell the girls your new brothers are here. Too young.
What is this, a Crystal Lee episode?
Although what we do find out about the Bradys later in life is that as they matured,
That's another can of worms.
yeah,
What is the can of worms?
they all fucked each other, basically. All
You
the
could
kids.
say they were the original step bro. What are you doing?
I guess so, yeah.
But the washing machine is Alice.
I don't know what you know about so Mike Brady, the father, who was played by Robert Reed,
father.
in real life was like deeply closeted. So he had told Carol like early on in recording, so like she knew because I guess he was uncomfortable during a lot of like affectionate scenes early on.
And they do a lot of kissing in this episode.
So like she would help him and like practice like off screen to like get him more comfortable with it. But he was deeply closeted. Like he wasn't out publicly. Like it didn't come out until after he passed.
Yeah, like the way to the end of his, in like 91, I think he passed away. Yeah.
So because of that, Greg Brady pulled double duty. So not only not only did he sleep with Marcia, but he slept with the mom as well.
Wow.
I will say this, though. People do make a big deal out of it, but I don't think it's a big deal because it's just regular life. Like, people who work together.
They're just, at the end of the day, they're just coworkers.
Yeah, they're just coworkers, and that happens all the time.
No, but when you see him this age.
Yeah, but when you see him here, like clearly as a little boy, like it definitely feels different.
I will say, it's weird for the Florence Henderson one. Yes, that is weird. But for like the kids growing up together, that's just coworkers of the same age.
They went through puberty. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it just happens, right? Like, I literally, my wife, we work together, right? Like, it just happens. You are with people in a place all the time and people connect with each other. It's always happening everywhere.
That's why our podcast can't be in person, you know?
You imagine the nightmare of the house of all of us living together in a, what is 5-tuplet call? I don't know what you even call that.
Quintuplet. We covered the show starring Andy Richter.
Quints.
Okay. Yeah, in a quintuplet relationship, the 5 of us together.
I will say, I just looked back. Florence Henderson is 20 years older than Barry Williams, who played Greg Brady. So there is sometimes TV are like, oh, it's his mother, but they're really only 10 years apart. It was a good solid 20 years.
It's very obvious in this show there's a solid 20 years between
When you
them.
see this episode, for sure, it is pretty obvious.
I mean, if one of you was like, this is my new girlfriend, she's 19, everyone would be like, oh, that's weird, man.
So, yeah, Florence Henderson was born in 1934. This came out in, 69? So she's 35 here. So...
Be weird pillow talk, but like, so what was it like when you heard that Hitler killed himself? Like, I don't know, that's so weird.
She was born at the time. I don't think she wasn't reading the paper.
She was born what age? What year?
34.
So she would have been 11 when Hitler killed himself. I'm sure she was aware.
Famously bad person.
Hitler, famously bad non-parent, but a famously good dog parent, Gordo.
That is a famously bad person. Yeah. Evil Hitler.
But he loved his doggies. Gordo, what do you think about that?
Let's not get into this.
I don't like the direction this is going.
Don't call me Doodle Roof.
So the youngest kids go upstairs, and then we cut to where where the cake's set up kind of, and Mike and Carol go over there to sidebar really quick and talk. And it's just like, oh,
this
what
is
do you think?
Chekhov's cake, by the way. You see this cake, you know it's getting involved.
Foreshadowing.
I think we know this as wrestling fans. I think we're as wrestling fans.
You see a
we're
cake,
conditioned.
a person's face is going into it.
Yeah, if we see a cake, we know what's going to happen. Berg.
You call it Chekhov's cake?
Yeah, you know what Chekhov's gun is?
No.
It's like a famous rule of cinema and plays. If you show something in the first act, it has to be used in the last act or second act. Or if you show something, it has to be used, basically. So if you show something like that and you center on it, it means it's going to be brought up again.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So they're talking to the cake. Mike saying how everything looks beautiful. It's like, everything? He's like, yeah, everything. The flowers are beautiful. The cake's beautiful. The hors d'oeuvres are beautiful. It's like, aren't you forgetting something? Oh, and the silverware looks beautiful too. It's like, well, how do I look? My dear, you are prettier than the flowers, sweeter than cake, more appetizing than the hors d'oeuvres, and more sparkling than the silverware.
I usually have a good take on this where I'm like, I understand whatever reference he's making, but I had no idea. Like, I couldn't figure out what old-time Hollywood accent he was doing. Or if he was just doing an accent.
To me, for me to do the accent, I'm thinking it's like a Robin Leach type of.
Yeah, it's a little bogey, little gable-y.
Kind of strange that on their wedding, the show's pretty traditional, other than the fact that they're both divorced, which I know it's a big one, but he's willing to see the bride before the wedding.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say pretty traditional, except for they're both on wedding 2. She's not wearing white.
I did too, but I saw my wife before ceremony.
I didn't see mine.
Well, it's not
I drove my wife.
No, it's not a law. It's just superstition.
I don't think that we were purposely not doing it. I just think that we were in 2 different camps that day.
That too. So now it's the 2 kiss, and she's saying, a few years ago I thought it was the end of the world, and now it's just the beginning. And for all of us, the whole blooming Brady Bunch. So they worked that title in right there for the first time.
Well, a triple alliteration too.
And we cut to the ceremony, and as mentioned earlier, we can see that the kids filled out the wedding party on this one, which I feel like, in this situation, how else could you do it? It just makes the most sense. Plus, it's nice and even.
And also economically too, right? Like you have to pay for a bunch of extras in an episode like this because you have to have some people at the wedding.
Yeah.
So you're not paying for more extras to be bridal and, guests you're not going to see ever again. You just have the kids do it.
So now it's the ceremony. We're getting, through the traditional, like, kind of thing. This is actually the first and probably only time we're going to hear their middle names, Carol Ann and Michael Paul.
Carol Ann! All I could think of.
Oh, like the famous Misfits song, The Shining, that's about Poltergeist? So they do that. You may kiss the bride, the two kiss. And then when the two kiss, Fluffy meows, which makes everyone laugh. And then Tiger's like, hey, what's everyone laughing at? So he looks out the window. And then Tiger uses his paw to roll
thumb
down the window. Yeah, rolls the window down and then jumps out of the car.
It's crazy that car has power windows at this time.
They don't have it.
No, they did, but you had to pay a lot extra for it. That's how you know how good of an architect Mike is, because he's got a convertible with power windows, man, in 1969.
I didn't think they made those. I thought it was all the
I
roll.
didn't either.
They did, but it was not standard. You were paying for every additional feature back then. If you wanted power windows, power steering, if you wanted like air conditioning, if you wanted a radio, if you wanted a radio that had an FM, like all of that was an extra charge.
Just think about it. We grew up, a little bit in the 80s, but mostly in the 90s. I bet most of our parents' cars still had a crank window.
Oh, yeah. I remember cranking windows forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them to have power windows then, it's nuts. Like, he really must have been loaded.
Even power locks, that wasn't always a thing either. That was like, remember to push the button down before you get out of the car.
Yeah, the little thing that looked like a golf tee.
Yeah.
Right above the little cigarette, the little ashtray that was in every door, too. Man, what a different time.
Tiger rolls the window down, jumps out of the car, starts beelining it into the yard, like hops the fence, gets into the yard, dives straight into Fluffy's cat house. So, as mentioned before.
Yo, how does Fluffy get away? They're both in that tiny house. You think that dog would have mauled that cat?
No,
man. It wasn't getting
cats
out.
are wily.
That makes the law of physics of that makes no sense at all. They should have pulled out fucking Tiger, and he should have had a cat-shaped imprint in his belly. They've been like, well, that's the end of that, like a snake eating a mouse or something.
Well, the cat did manage to get out, and then this turns into like a wild chase, which we brought up earlier was a solid 3-minute scene of chaos. We see the dog and cat chasing each other all through, climbing across like a row of people's laps. Then there was the one woman who like the cat and dog both climbed over, and she's like, "Oh, and,
my
faints.
They got ice on them! Oh no!"
Yeah. Then they grab the bucket of ice, and someone just throws ice on her chest. I don't know.
My word!
Because she almost passed out.
But from what? The fear of like, listen, I get it. And like, even if you're not like a dog or cat person, like, was that traumatic for you that she's like, oh my Lord? And like,
This is the day of the Lord.
It seems like an excessive overreaction.
I love that them all trying to catch these pets that are just gingerly running. Like, they try to make it look like it's high speed and they can't catch them. Like, the dog's barely at barely at a sprint.
it's a big dog.
That dog's also like a 60s working actor. Like, he definitely had his own chair and like a cigarette when they were like, cut. Like, the dog's not running too fast.
The shaggy dog.
So the chase continues, and you have the cat and dog running with all the kids chasing after it. They go under one of the tables with the tablecloth, which knocks the legs down, happens to be the table that has the cake on it. So now the cake's starting to slide down, and then like right on the 0 hour before the cake falls over, Mike's able to run over and grab the save, like, picks it up from like a squatting position.
This, though, is, I don't know how many takes they had to do. I hope he got it the first time, but like, they had to have multiple cakes there for him to run and really grab the cake. This is a very impressive shot.
Yeah, because if he trips up and the suit could get all messy and you have to change his suit.
Like, if it's a reset everything, it's resetting the table, the cake, the suit.
It was probably a big piece of styrofoam with just a very little bit of actual frosting on it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was more like shaving cream than anything else.
And then it's, oh, Mike, thank goodness you saved the cake. And then no sooner does he loses balance and he falls back and the cake completely falls all over him.
And we left out that throughout this whole thing, they're screaming at the children. They're like screaming at them like they did something
Carol's
wrong.
first thing she says is, "You're ruining the wedding." It's so fucking funny.
Also, the girls didn't do anything. They were just already there with their cat that lives there.
Girls did
If anything,
zero
the
wrong.
boys brought the dog.
Yeah, the boys should be in trouble here. The cat just already lives in this fucking place. You can't be mad at the cat.
Well, even the boys didn't do anything wrong, really. The boys asked to bring the dog, and
The boys put the dog back in the car. They did not. Mike does not know the dog has a thumb. That is not their fault.
also, Mike makes the pivotal error of when it was offered to put the cat inside, the normal solution to have the cat just be inside in the girls' room and let the dog stay in the yard. He said, no. I'm just going to fucking lock my dog in a hot car instead.
I've had cats almost my entire life. If like somebody comes over that can't be near cats, or you don't want them around like a person who's like working on the house, you just close a door in a room and put their food and water in there and they just sleep. There's no need to have the cat outside.
They're pretty content always.
Yeah, they're fine.
Unless you're my cat.
Your cat just wants to make copies, man. Let it happen.
I do.
Now he has cake all over him. Carol starts laughing. He grabs her, gives her a big kiss, and now she's covered in cake. Now everyone's having a good laugh. Just what we wanted, a nice quiet wedding. Meanwhile, all the kids are traumatized because they were screamed at for the last 3 minutes.
Poor kids.
Yeah.
And poor dad who paid for the caterer and have all the food get ruined.
Yeah, I wonder what's the plan then. He's like, so there's no food.
Guess the Bradys are having pizza.
Yeah, right.
So now the next scene, we see the two newlyweds walking into their hotel for the night. And again, it's wedding too, so I think the budget's a little different. So it's just, night in a hotel right nearby where the wedding was. This is where we meet the desk guy, Mr. Pringle, for the first time. And he's like very creepy. Like, ooh, you guys have the honeymoon suite.
Yeah, because they got married and they're going to fuck.
Oh, yes, the honeymoon suite.
It was not Percy Pringle.
I had a stroke.
Percy Pringle's here to let you know I'll be watching you.
Why is he Paul Bearer?
Because that was Paul Bearer's
I know
husband's
Percy
class.
Pringle.
This is Mr. Pringle.
I imagine this is Percival Pringle III's father, Percival Pringle II.
One of that was kind of crazy is like, so this guy is being like a super creep, right? Just the idea that they're in the honeymoon suite and he's like very pervy. And then all of a sudden he's like Captain Morality when he finds out that they're both like, this is their second marriage.
Like, this guy has peepholes in the honeymoon suite. We're like, yes.
So he went from being like creepy perv to like, oh, second wedding. Ugh. In God's country.
He acts like, like when we were kids and you'd like get a hotel room to like party in and the people would like know what was going on and she'd be so fucking bummed and be like, oh God. Like that's what he feels like he's acting like this is gonna be a mess. There'll be drunken kids here. I can't stop it because they haven't done anything illegal yet. But this is just two 35-year-olds going on their honeymoon. He should not be mad at them for any fucking reason.
Yeah.
They kind of force feed it in where Mike writes Mike Brady and family or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah, that's
no,
even
you wouldn't
weird.
write that. It's like,
When I ran hotels, I only had to kick one person out for sex stuff.
No, please go on. Yeah, I want to hear all of this.
Okay, so I had these people paid in cash, and my
Immediate red flag.
Yep, not really. So the housekeepers run down and they just say baby doll, baby doll, baby doll to me, and I go, what the fuck? So I run upstairs and there is a handprints of lube on the wall. There is a tied up negligee on the headboard. I have pictures still. Tied up negligee on the fucking
Do they have
headboard.
Jay's hard drive?
And there's like crack cocaine everywhere on the floor.
I've never seen so many dead hookers in my life. Lord knows I have.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So
What does baby doll mean though?
Yeah.
they just meant like lingerie. I'll find the picture. I'll show you guys.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I think that was
I was
just,
like, is this a voodoo thing with Papa Shango?
I don't know. They just came up
Hotel
and said
that
baby
night.
doll. And I'm like, what the fuck are they like? They're freaked out. I'm like, are they like doing satanic rituals in here? Like, I didn't know what to expect. And then, like I said, hand mark lube on the wall.
I didn't know you were such a kink shamer.
Gordo is shaming so many kinks right now. I feel like if you find a hotel and they're like, no, we'll just do cash, you're like, oh, we can go do some fucked up shit there. Because they're not going to be able to find us and charge us more later.
Like smoke crack cocaine. I'll try and find it.
As opposed to the time that you bought a hotel room for that guy that you're recording at the hotel my mom worked at and he broke the TV.
I was thinking about that.
You had to pay for the TV.
It was a big TV too.
Well, that was like a CRT TV. That wasn't like a flat
I don't know
screen,
how we
yeah.
did it. Like, I'm actually impressed.
The excuse was sleepwalking. I didn't buy it.
So now we cut to the two and they're in their room. We find out that champagne was delivered to the room. So they were, sharing a glass.
So Mr. Pringle kind of calms down a little here and sends up a bottle of bubbly.
Oh, you get the honeymoon suite. They're going to take care of you. You spend some big dough in that room.
They share a glass and she's like, oh, champagne. I forgot. Champagne has a terrible effect on me. It makes me dizzy. He's like, well, champagne has a terrible effect on me too. He goes, what? You'll find out.
So fucking horny.
Now, did you guys feel like from now on, there's zero chemistry between them?
This
Yeah.
scene feels awkward.
Yeah.
And the whole time, I don't know if they're trying to just like show that they're like stressed out about leaving the kids and they feel bad, because that's what eventually happens. But like, I don't know. I felt no chemistry between Mike and Carol at this part. I'm like, they're like known as like that.
If we're going to go halfway with them, both of them have like shit on their mind from how the day went, right? So that could be part of it, that they're both just distracted thinking about, the kids.
You know what vibe I got from this part was the scene from Batman '89 when they're eating at that giant
Pass the
table.
salt. With that scene too where they go upstairs and he's sober and she's drunk and you're like, this is bad. This is so bad. Yeah.
Oh, you mean when Batman raped that girl?
Yeah. One drink and I'm flying. It's like, you are fucking lying, Batman. You're doing upside down sit-ups in 2 minutes.
Mike and Carol start kissing. That cuts to the three girls back at home. And Cindy's like crying in bed as she's telling the doll what happened. And she's saying, I was afraid Tiger was going to hurt Fluffy and I couldn't help screaming. And then neither could Marcia and Jan, but Mommy yelled at us. She didn't even yell at the boys. And it was their dog who chased Fluffy. Maybe she just likes them better than us.
Not wrong.
I can see how that's perceived that way.
I feel genuinely like all the kids are right here.
Sure. And I think also at this point, though, it's a tricky situation, right? So at this point, it's a new joined family. Carol is probably not comfortable reprimanding the boys, and likewise with Mike and the girls. So all they can do is reprimand their own. Now, did the girls do anything wrong
But
to
their
begin
own
with?
didn't
No.
do anything wrong.
Yeah, the girls didn't really do anything wrong to begin with, but I guess in the chaos of it all.
Girls, you're ruining the wedding. They're just standing there.
And then we cut back to the couple, and you see Carol saying, like, I feel funny about Cindy and Marcia and Jan. I shouldn't have scolded them. And then you have Mike saying, I shouldn't have yelled at the boys. And saying, but it was such a mess and everything that was going on. And they go, and poor Mrs. Feldman with her frozen front for her ice boobs.
Her frozen front feels again like a comment that's a little more progressive than I expected this show to be.
She had bloobs.
Bloobs.
Bloops.
And then Mike's going, how about me and my nose full of wedding cake? I'm still sneezing rosebuds. Oh, you were a sight.
Rosebud.
Rosebud.
Just a sled shoots out of his nose, blood everywhere.
Imagine if instead of the kids, they both just took it out on Alice. Just started screaming at her.
What the fuck do I pay you for?
Speaking of Alice, though, Carol actually does kind of snap at her when the dog first comes. She's, Alice, do something! And that's when she starts whistling.
That sucks because you're treating Alice like the help. And Mike just said she's a part of this family. Like, we're going to have some trouble down the line here, I think. Sam the Butcher is going to come with a big fucking knife and take you out, Carol.
So they're both concerned about the kids, but then, I don't know, Mike's trying to justify it and just, to get over it so they can enjoy their night. It's like, we're in our honeymoon. We're supposed to be enjoying ourselves. The kids are fine. They've probably forgotten all about it by now. He's like, they're probably, they're missable 1 minute and then the next minute they're, laughing. And right now I bet they all have a smile on their faces a mile wide. And then you cut to all the boys in the kitchen and they're just sad with their hands on their faces while Alice walks in and they all have like a big piece of cake in front of them. So what, I guess any of the salvage wedding cake.
And they're also sad that they're not taking even a bite out of it. They all have perfectly sliced wedding cakes that no one has eaten.
Yeah.
those kids would have been like, that sucked, and still eating the cake. They've been like mouthful of cake while they were bummed out.
Well, Alice notes it. She's like,
That is true.
when boys don't eat cake, there's got to be a reason. And that's when they say, well, Dad shouldn't have yelled at us. We're only trying to help. Like, he didn't yell at the girls, and it was their cat that caused the trouble. So, you know, it's the flip of the argument. So, again, I do agree that technically the girls didn't do anything wrong. But
I feel bad that I don't like that we don't get a backstory on Alice. Like, I'm sure it was just like a for hire gig, but she lives in the house. It's not like she like comes in Monday through Friday. Like she's
It's
got
like,
a room,
yeah, do
she's part of
I
the
question,
family.
like, did like the mother die and then she answered an ad? Like, that's a sitcom on its own, right?
I was going to say, that is a sitcom on its own.
Were they friends? Yeah, was she like a cousin? Is that her sister? Was the mom Malice?
originally, she used to sell cosmetics in Flushing, Queens. And then she went in to sell like makeup one day. And then as it turns out, there was a nanny gig available. So she applied for that instead.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield. I mean,
I was just gonna say, who's
Brady.
gonna say Mr. Sheffield first? Alice, I got your new apron. It's got leopard print. Uh-huh.
It's the silence of the chickens.
Oh, Tiger, you're ruining the cake.
I love Fred Drescher so much.
But yeah, so basically, like, this whole scene is the boys just kind of reciprocating what the girl said and just thinking that now their dad is siding with the girls. So, like, they both sides now feel like betrayed by their parent.
Dad's a chick now.
Alice is super, like, motherly right now, though, because she's like, you boys really think that? And, like, you know, that's not the case and stuff, but I guess it doesn't get through, but.
Well, at least they have someone to talk to. All Cindy had to talk to was her doll. Like,
Kitty Carryall.
Kitty Carryall.
now we're back at the hotel and we see the two sitting there in the room having a candlelit dinner. And again, like, we brought this up earlier, but is this like protocol? Is this like how honeymoon suites work?
Nope.
I've seen that before in, like, other movies. I don't know if reality, but it had to have come from somewhere.
I mean, if you get room service, sure.
No, but this is like fine dining. This is beyond room
Yeah,
service.
this is like stuff at a cloche with like candles. When we had our baby last year, they like kept pushing that on us. They were like, "Hey, did you get the baby dinner?" We're like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Oh, there's like a special menu and you can have like a candlelit dinner." Which I just thought was so funny because, like, after being in the hospital for 2 days, you're just like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, do you want? Like, no, I want to leave as fast as possible. Like, why would I want to eat a candlelit dinner made by a hospital cafeteria? Like, I just want to leave. This feels weird.
You're very different from me. I wanted to stay in the hospital as long as I could because they were helping with the baby.
I mean, that was helpful, sure. But at that point, I was like, I haven't had good coffee in 3 days. Sorry, Ferg. And I need to leave here right now.
Could have left and got coffee and come back.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ferg was having all you can drink chocolate milk while he was in the hospital. He's like, this is phenomenal.
Just hook it up to my veins.
So they're trying to make the most of their dinner and they're sitting there and they're saying, you know, this is such a great hotel and the service is so good. And they're both sitting in silence and you can like hear them both like they're both thinking back to what they said earlier. So you hear like the echoes of the things they were yelling at their kids earlier in the day.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Didn't like that scene.
Like, I get it. They feel bad, but is this going to be the future? They have to, every place they go, they have to bring the entire family. You can't have one night out, especially your honeymoon. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's supposed to play it off as sweet. They care and stuff, but it's like, have your honeymoon. Go fuck.
But I feel like that's, without jumping ahead, which I know we're not supposed to do, that's kind of the show, right? It's like, we do everything together as 9 of us with Alice, so.
Actually 11, because they count the pets and Kitty Carryall.
That's true. 12.
That doll kind of looks like the doll Alexa Bliss carries around.
Lilith? Lily?
Yeah, it gave me that vibes a little bit.
I think it's supposed to be like a Raggedy Ann doll, but they couldn't get the rights to Raggedy Ann.
Lumpy Lilith. Aww. It just talks like Lilith from Frasier and Cringe Years, just condescending and so mean.
It's give me that spinoff with a doll. Like, we just think she's talking to a doll, but it is possessed.
Also, I forgot it's so out of character, or so out of like her type that I forget the actor's name who plays Lilith, but she's like John Leguizamo's boss who's sleeping with him in Summer of Sam, and she's just like a 70s like sex pot lady. And you're like, Lilith, this is so fucking weird. What are you doing?
After they're both sitting there and thinking, they both come to the conclusion like there's only one logical thing they can do, which is leave and invite all the kids to join them on the honeymoon. So we see them running out of the hotel, and then first they end up in the girls' room. And it's like, shh, you'll frighten grandma and grandpa. So it's like, so are you going to take these kids out and not tell your parents that you're doing it? Like, what happens when they wake up and the kids are missing?
Or Henry wakes up in the middle of this having a World War I PTSD and he thinks that Mike is the Kaiser and like goes to pull his gun out. Like, this could end so poorly.
I just like the idea of, though, like, with the little logic of, like, shh, you don't want to wake up your grandparents. Like, so you're just going to leave with the kids? Like, there's, like, you can't do that. You have to give them a heads up.
At least Carol does say afterwards, she does say, I'm going to go tell my parents what we're doing.
It's like, how would you guys like to come along with us on your honeymoon? Like, that's right. Like, oh boy, I've never been on a honeymoon. And I think Jan's like, neither have I. And I'm older than you are. I think this is the first time Jan speaks the whole episode.
Yeah, it is the first.
Yeah, it's her first dialogue the whole show.
Because everybody forgets about Jan. It's always about Marsha.
Just Jan's the OG middle child syndrome.
As a middle child, I understand it.
She tells them, like, all right, like, pack your things. Like, make sure you pack a few dresses. Like, I don't know how long they're going to be in this hotel for, but...
A few dresses? Yeah, like, how long did we... I mean, I guess honeymoon's usually like a week, right?
Yeah, I was under the assumption this was just kind of be like an overnight, like we have a night alone before, you know, being with, but who knows? We really don't know.
Yeah, typically you go kind of far away.
So now we're flashed to the boys' room and they wake up Bobby. It's like, come on, get up. And he's waking up all the boys.
By the way, so this part, when they walk in, I thought Bobby was Alice sleeping in the living room.
What?
Like, I literally thought that was Alice, and this was the living room, and she was sleeping in the living room.
One night, so did Sam the Butcher when he came home drunk, too, and it was a very tough night.
So now they're asking the boys, like, how would you like to come with us on our honeymoon? It's like, Marcia, Jan, and Cindy are waiting downstairs. He's like, I'd love to go on a honeymoon. What should I take? I think it's Greg that goes, a girl, dummy.
I laughed so hard at this, but then also Mike's response is, that'll do, Greg. I don't know why that's so fucking funny, but it broke me.
So now Greg's like, I'm going back to bed. It's like, you're not coming with us? Nah, not me. I'm too old to go on a honeymoon. Well, Dad's older than you, and he's going. So they convince him to go. They say they're going to go wake up Alice and tell her. And then Alice pops up. Alice is right here. Like, what are you doing up? Well, I figured you'd be back. I packed the boys' clothes last night.
Alice, on top of shit.
Including Mike.
That's why she gets paid.
I mean, she's good at her job.
I better pack the boys' clothes just in case Mike comes back and wants to bring the kids along on the honeymoon.
But that's also that she knows them so well, right?
So now they show back up at the hotel now with the whole, bunch. And Mr. Pringle's like giving a look. It's like, oh, it's okay. They're with us.
My word.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not the whole family.
And if there's one thing that's better than a honeymoon for 2, it's a honeymoon for 8. Like, you mean a honeymoon for 9, Mommy? Because she has her doll. You mean a honeymoon for 10? Then Fluffy's there because Jan brought Fluffy.
Stop bringing your pets places.
I know, Alice shows up with the fucking
And then
dog.
Alice shows up with Tiger. So that makes 12.
There's nothing wrong with taking your dog on vacation with you.
No, but there is something wrong with bringing your dog uninvited to a honeymoon suite for not you.
Yeah, first off, you need to find out if the hotel is okay with pets. Second, I would say from it's one thing for Jan to like bring the cat and not ask. Alice should be a little bit more aware, especially knowing how the day went earlier.
Right.
Maybe
And she's a
not-
fucking adult.
Time out.
Not in the
Time out.
best taste.
Time out. How did they not know that they brought the cat and the dog? Because they all drove up together.
No, Alice came in a separate car, is I think the assumption.
Alice had to have been in a separate car.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
surprise when she walks in.
Yeah, because they don't expect to see her there. It's not like she was in the trunk. I stowed away.
I mean, logistically, I don't know how they all got there, even with Alice separately, because I don't think you could fit.
I hitchhiked to this guy named Charlie with long hair and a beard. He was really
I don't
cool.
think you could fit 8 in the other car either. So
I don't think they could fit 8 in that room.
There's one bed.
from what we saw, so not only did Alice assume that the dog should go, but she was like, I should go. Someone's going to watch these kids. Like, where are they all sleeping?
At this point, you're on Mr. Pringle's side, where he's like, you didn't pay for all these people. This isn't how this works.
Are they going to rent out extra rooms now?
But what if their hotel's no more room at the inn, okay? You gotta go out and sleep in the bale of hay with the animals. This is a real Jesus scenario.
Because say there was a famous person who built houses who did that.
Actually, it was his mom.
Actually, it was.
She built houses. Mary was a carpenter.
They were very progressive back then.
You remember the olden times when people were so progressive? We brought tiger and some frankincense.
Meow, I bought myrrh.
So now they're all trying to go upstairs and get this honeymoon going with all of them. And the kids start like fighting, trying to go up the steps, like who should go first and whatnot. It's getting a little chaotic and they're all wrestling until Mike finally just goes like, attention. And like gets all the kids to like stop. He's like, all right, everyone. He's like, get in order, size, big ones first. And then like they all get in like one big line from him all the way down to Cindy. Even though Alice is technically taller, she takes the back. And then they all start marching up the stairs with the left, right, left. And just boom, they all start marching up. And that is the conclusion of the episode.
One of the things I think is the most genius part of this episode is they start doing, it's very subtle in the background. The score starts doing the like drum and fife army sort of thing where it's like the snare, like brum, 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 boom, boom. And it seamlessly transitions into the Brady Bunch song onto the horn, where I was like, wow, that's like some editor and music producer fucking knocked that out of the park. And it's so subtle, and if you weren't looking for it or listening to it, you'd never even notice it. But I just thought it was such an amazing choice.
If you weren't listening to it, you wouldn't notice.
Listening for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Joe.
I didn't love that as an ending for the episode, though. I felt like it just kind of felt a little empty at the end.
Kind of feel that way about the whole episode.
Like, where was that next scene when they let Fluffy out of the cage and then Tiger goes after the all over again and they just destroy the hotel room?
Tiger comes down in the like the little elevator thing that comes from rooms to the kitchen.
Waiter.
There was more story to tell here, though. I don't know. It just felt like it ended almost abruptly for a longer episode too.
It almost felt like a two-parter.
Yeah,
this would be a very good two-parter to be like, and now the next day we see them as at home and we're gonna like adjust to this is their lives. You watch it all one night so you know the new dynamic of like whatever they're gonna do going forward.
The kids don't have any dialogue with each other.
No, they do.
The brothers do with each other and the sisters do with each other.
No, I know. That's what I mean. The boys and the girls.
Bobby and Cindy are the only ones I can think of.
Yeah, Bobby and Cindy, and it's for 11 seconds, if that they sort of speak to each other.
It's weird because they are kind of an afterthought in this episode. Most of the episode is Carol and Mike.
Yes.
But the show, when you think of the show, it mainly focuses on the kids.
About the kids, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I think they probably could have added something in that made it a little more closer to like what you expect the show to become, which we know it does become, if they eliminated some of the 3-minute dog cat chase scene that did not to be as long as it was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Brady Bunch is, to say an iconic show would be an understatement. And there's so many weird little tidbits when you kind of go into this. And this show has a very different vibe than the rest of the show as we know it. But again, and this is one of those, I mean, this is why we do what we do, right? We watch the first episode and we just kind of take it from there. You know, having hindsight and knowing more about the show, obviously, like, it takes on such a different tone after this, especially as they age a little bit and the storylines kind of change. But yeah, this show is a very different version of the Brady Bunch from what it becomes.
One thing I think is very interesting that shows the lasting power of this show is that I mentioned earlier, like there was 2 theatrical movies that were very big, and then a third made-for-TV movie, almost like the Addams Family, right? Like 2 theatrical 90s movies, one made-for-TV, one after. But they didn't do that for any of the other shows that are in this class. Like there's no Sanford and Son movie from the 90s or Jeffersons or All in the Family. Any of these other like huge sort of tentpole TV shows. I think they tried to rebring the Monkees back once, but that was a colossal failure. But I think it was a TV show.
No, that was a VH1 movie.
No, I think they like tried to do like the new Monkees as a TV show.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
But that's kind of interesting to me, right? It's like they knew that this would work as a satire. Like it's so specific and iconic that you can satire it successfully to a generation 25 years later. But those other shows that were just as iconic wouldn't work that way, and still haven't. Like they haven't really done that with any of these old shows again. It's very interesting.
Sure, and you brought up like Sanford and Son, right? But like Sanford and Son's like one of those shows where Red Fox is that character, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't have someone else play that character without it being just a Red Fox ripoff. You know what I mean? Where
I would say the same thing for All in the Family and Jeffersons too, and maybe even Chico and the Man.
So like Mike Brady is not Robert Reed.
There's only one Cousin Oliver, you know? Who's going to play Cousin Oliver?
Michelangelo? Yeah. So there's the Brady Bunch is more about the characters and the people who played them. Not to negate, all the actors that are involved in such an iconic show. But yeah, we were able to see like recreations of those characters and it not feel so off, even in a satirical way. It felt very similar.
It's crazy that there's enough tropes on the show for them to make 2 theatrical movies of just jokes that they did on the show in modern day. And apparently 3, because I didn't know there was a 3rd movie. But
and I'm glad Davy Jones got like a solid payday in the 90s for re-upping on the Davy Jones episode.
They all did. They were the judges in the competition and the music thing.
Yeah, everybody made a cameo. That's something important to say too. Everyone who's alive, which I think was everybody but Mike, right? Like made a cameo in those movies.
Yeah, even Alice was the truck driver, and she looked like Large Marge.
Yes, she looked very much like Large Marge in that movie.
And the funny thing too is like, Robert Reed again, who played Mike, really didn't like being part of the show after a while, and it wasn't the type of acting that he was, passionate about, right?
Not even after a while. He at the start of it, he did not want to do it, and he was good friends with what the hell is the
Sherwood Schwartz, and then ultimately they ended up like really butting heads too, just because he was written out of the finale, but stayed on set the entire time. But he hated the story so much he didn't want to be part of it for the finale.
Mike's not in the finale of the Brady Bunch,
and I'm so curious to see how they worked around that.
I feel like I want to just go back and watch that. I'm sure I've seen it before as a kid, but I just don't remember it.
Every reunion in the 90s, well, there was like the television movies that came out afterwards, like the reunion movies, like with that cast, he did all of those, and that was completely in respects to the children. So he did all that stuff for them because he did care about the rest of the cast and stuff like that. But as far as his desire to do this, it was super low.
He hated the role. Yeah.
I will say this. I love A Very Brady Christmas. I watch it every year. The first time I ever saw it, I was watching it at my parents' house. I was probably 11 or 12 years old. I was like, what's that? Looked out of the corner of my eye, and the Christmas tree had fallen out of the stand and crashed down on me and just exploded glass and ornaments all over me. And my brain is weirdly intrinsically connected to A Very Brady Christmas from that moment. And I watch it every year because of it, which if you remember, Mike gets trapped in a building that somebody did different plans for than his architectural plans, and it collapses, dies on Christmas. It is a kind of harrowing, sweet movie.
I couldn't tell you a thing about that.
So with all that in mind, might as well get into the green light or cancel. We could talk about the show forever, but we've covered the pilot enough, and anything else we're saying right now is kind of far beyond that. So with that in mind, green light or cancel, random order, boop, 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 boop. Ferg.
God damn it. All right. Honestly, I wasn't hoping to go first for once. It's hard with a show like this. It's doing what we do. There's something as iconic as the Brady Bunch. And I said earlier in the episode, I don't love the Brady Bunch. I loved the satirical movies, but I can't in good conscience cancel the Brady Bunch. And it might even be cheating because I didn't even enjoy this episode that much. I know what it leads to, and I think for the most part, it's not a particularly well made episode. The end is it's very abrupt. The chase scene with the dog and the cat is too long, but I think all the parts are there for a good show. And I think the people saw it then, and I think we can see it now that this was a hit. So it gets a green light from me.
Joe.
One thing I do want to say, this show does have a connection to one of our podcast patron saints, O.J. Simpson, because both Carol and Alice were in Naked Gun 33 1/3. Bobby was in the Towering Inferno. So if you ever get to talk to any of them, you could be like, what was OJ like? And that's probably the first question I would ask any of them, because that's just the way my brain goes. But I think Ferg killed this one. It's hard to say no. But I will say, I think it does give you the kind of want to know what happens next. If you never saw this show before, you're like, okay, that was a weird opening setup. They're going to have to do episode 2 at home tomorrow. These kids necessarily don't know each other, never spoke to each other, really. We don't know the dynamic. We don't know what it's going to be like living together. I'd be intrigued to watch episode 2. It's a classic show. I loved the show as a kid. I love those movies, too. I haven't watched it in a very long time, but it has to be a green light. It's the Brady Bunch.
I'll go next. And just to tail on what Joe had just said, if I was in a position where I got to ask Florence Henderson or Ann B. Davis a question, it probably wouldn't be about OJ. It'd probably be more about the afterlife. Would probably be the first thing I would ask them.
OJ's here too, and he keeps stabbing us.
They are not in the same place.
There's no way.
He's with Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
He keeps stabbing us with his motorcycle.
Anyways, for me, listen, I do like the Brady Bunch. And Ferg, it's interesting because everything you said is why I feel like I have to cancel it, because I didn't get the Brady Bunch that I come to know and love, not in this episode. It did leave a lot of questions. It was pretty dry. I don't think there was a single thing that made me laugh the whole episode. So as far as this goes, if I'm really shutting my brain off and isolating this episode and taking it for what it is, it's just not enough for me. There's a lot of like stuff that I would fix. And I love the Brady Bunch, but this episode just doesn't do it for me. So for me, it's going to be a cancel. Gordo.
Yeah, so there's a lot of plot armor in this episode. Like, there's just a lot. But at the end of the day, I kind of doing what we do. I agree with everybody, actually. Like, I agree with Jay that I didn't like the episode. However, I do want to see episode 2. Like, I want to see what this family dynamic is, and I kind of want to, I don't know, I just want to go see it. It's not the best written pilot, and we only really get Mike and Carol, who's, you know, they're questionable chemistry-wise, but I think that there's enough there that I want to see episode 2, so green light for me.
Nick.
I'm glad you were all as confused about a green light or cancel on this one as I was, because this is one of those shows that left me wanting more, but for the wrong reasons. They just didn't answer enough in the first one. But it's not one of those shows that I think I can cancel it for that, because even considering that, I still do, like Gordo said, I'm still curious to see where this dynamic goes with, 9 people living in a house, 2 sets of kids getting to me. I mean, it's just an intriguing concept. It's a unique concept also. There's a lot wrong with this episode. There's just the flow of it is strange. The basic synopsis of the episode is a little weird too, considering my biggest problem is that the boys and the girls, the kids, don't have any dialogue together. Like, which is what the show becomes eventually. It's just about the kid. It's just really weird. But again, I think just, ignoring the nostalgia and everything, just the concept alone is enough to keep me wanting to see another episode. So it's not a hard green light, but a green light nevertheless.
Well, with all that in mind, fuck my vote. 4 out of 5. Congratulations to the Brady Bunch. You live on to see a second episode. I want to thank all you guys for listening, and stay tuned. We have 4 more weeks of Mother's May, or whatever we want to call it, or Mother's Month, or whatever.
Thanks, Ma.
We have another pick. Yeah, so thank you to Nick's mom for picking this episode, and we'll have 4 more for the rest of our moms coming up. So stay tuned for that. Again, S1E1pod.com. That's where you can find all the links to all our social medias, everywhere we can subscribe to us, buy a t-shirt, do all that stuff. Recommend episodes, things of that nature. Hit us up, DM us. We like talking to you guys. But with all that in mind, that's enough for this week. We'll catch you again next week with another new episode. But until then, thank you. Goodbye.
I think you got the best Robbie Knievel.